I'll just jump around real quickly here. Dick, I don't like you with your normal glasses because let's put the Whipple glasses on so everybody can recognize you a little better and give us... You know, if you look at Dick's face, and I'm being complimentary here, he was really the breakthrough in commercials because it was always a pretty face, wasn't it?
Exactly.
In the early 60s.
I will never forget what the man said to me. I was the first one to do it with receding hair. I didn't think I was bald. I thought other people were hairy. And I was the first one to do a commercial with glasses because I couldn't see without my glasses, and with a mustache. Now, they always considered anyone who had a mustache was a used car salesman. Now, I don't want to hear from the used car salesman. This is what was told to me. And the man from the advertising agency says, Dick, he said, this is marvelous. You are the first of the uglies.
That's a compliment.
Yes, it was as far as he was concerned.
And it sure was financially.
Yes,
I have to add that. Let me jump to Jane Withers for a second, because as a child actress, we all very familiar with your work. And then you decided not to act. Why was that?
I had a very good reason. I stopped to have 5 children, which I wanted very, very much. And I just decided, finally, when my husband wanted to study law, that I would go back to work part-time. And he said, oh, Mother, what can you ever do part-time? Because I jump in feet first and give it 100% of everything. I said, I don't know, but we'll put it into prayer. And that's what we do about everything in our family. So we did, and about 2 weeks later, I was in Canada, and I had a call about doing another commercial. I had turned down a lot of commercials before the one I decided to do. And the first thing I asked was, what is the product? When they told me it was Comet, I said, that's great. It's a fabulous product, and I have really used it for many years. Only 3 years, pardon me. And I really believe in the product, and I won't do anything I don't believe in. I don't care what it is or how much is involved. That's very important.
Well, you know, her comment about doing things 100%, and I did a little research. I understand you could come over to my house and fix my plumbing. Isn't that true?
I can now. I couldn't in the beginning, believe me.
But you actually went out...
It depends on what your problem is, Jack, truly.
No, but
there
you
are a lot
did
of
study
things
it.
really I can't do. But, you know, I felt a tremendous responsibility to the gentleman that I was representing because, let's face it, I was the first lady plumber that anyone could see, you know. And I really felt a tremendous responsibility, and I like to do things right or not at all. So in the beginning, I just started out here on the West Coast with a plumber, and I would go around to, you know, different homes, and you should have seen the faces on some of those ladies when the door opened. They said, aren't you? I said, yes. And I didn't have to say Jane Withers or anything, because they seemed to know. And they said, oh, my land, we grew up together, and what are you doing here with the plumber? And I told them what I was doing and about to get involved with, and they thought it was great. And all those lovely people that had been watching me for, I think at that time, 3 decades, were kind enough to care an awful lot about Josephine. And we had a wonderful time.
Let me move next door here to Dick, because Dick, you've been a fine actor in many, many different roles and all. How do you feel about being recognized for your commercial character?
I'm Dick.
I'm sorry,
She's
Jeff.
Jay.
I'm Dick.
I'm sorry. I was asked.
Jackie, before you go any further, I did my first movie with Jane.
You did?
In 1886.
Oh, boo.
1782.
Now you've all got me. I was addressing...
I won't tell, sweetheart, how long ago it was. But Janie was a star. 8 years old. She was a great star and a fantastic gal to work with, and she has never changed. I don't know anyone in Hollywood that doesn't love this dear lady.
Well, that is so true. Yes. I meant to switch. I said Dick, but I was talking about Jesse. Jesse, can we move the camera over? There you are.
And my mother took me to see Jesse when I was in
come on.
You know, I've known Dick Wilson for 30 years, and he hasn't changed. He still looks the same.
He was always...
But cute.
How about my legitimate question, Jesse, about being recognized for your television character?
Well, I've been in 59 feature films, 17 Broadway plays, hundreds of television shows, and when I walk down the street, you think they'd say, there goes Jess White, the actor. They say, there goes that klutz that fixes washing machines.
No, but really, what does that tell you about the impact that commercials have on the American public?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the credibility factor, Jack. If they believe you, if you believe in the product, the public will believe you. And thank God I've been doing it for 11 years, and business is great.
Do you think that they believe you as a character more than they would, let's say, a big-name actor who came on and did the endorsement of the product?
What do you mean? I think I'm a big-name actor.
Well, I meant you're not on as Jess White, you're on as your character.
As the loneliest man in town, right?
Yeah.
I've had a romance going with the public ever since I've been in show business. And I think when they see me, I walk out on a stage or people kind of smile at me. It gives me a nice feeling, you know?
Well, you've got a nice smiley face.
Well, they ask me if I have a Maytag. I says in every room in my house.
One thing about Jess. Now, Jess is, I defy anyone in the audience to ever see anything that Jess has ever done where he hasn't done a 100% performance. Great actor, Jess. And I'm only saying it because I love you.
Let me move focus here.
I want to say hello.
Yeah, say hello, Mae.
Hello, Jesse.
Hello, Mae.
Oh, you remember. We did
Sweetheart,
that movie.
we did a Jerry Lewis picture together.
That's right. It was
And
called
she was
Show Me
adorable.
Money.
I think
And
we're not
you're
doing a show on
adorable,
commercial. We're
too.
doing a reunion here.
That's
This
it.
is an
That's it.
actor's workshop.
You know, the funny thing about it is when I talk to Jane and when I get a little overcome, you know, the tears might be here pretty soon.
Well, I feel that I
because-
see them in your eyes.
Yes, it's been a long time.
And
May,
he cries
dear
at
May.
bingo games, Jack. He cries at bingo games.
Listen, I laugh at odd socks, too.
Now, cut it out, you guys.
I think
Let
it's
me...
wonderful. Let's laugh it up. Look at us. We're still around. We're in the business, and we're doing very well.
You know,
Right?
May has
yes.
not only a fine actress, but her voice has been such a source of success for her. Can I run you through the gauntlet real quickly? Can you do quickly a Casper the Ghost whom you were?
No, I wasn't Casper the Ghost. I was in Casper the Ghost, doing various voices.
All the characters. I thought you did Casper.
No, I didn't. I also
You
did a
did.
lot of voices in Olive Oil. You know, here I am.
And then you did Betty Boop.
Yes,
Can you
that
give us-
was the first one. Betty Boop. Boop, boop, be doop.
A lot of people don't know that she also did Popeye.
Yes, I did. Our
Yeah.
Popeye was in the service, it's
Yes.
true. And we had a young man come up to the mic and get mic fright. And we had the studio all booked. Well, I always used to mimic people. And so I did, wow, blow me down. Water boil. So I did about 10 cartoons as Popeye.
That's marvelous.
Isn't that marvelous?
The characters, and I'm really directing this to all of you, are your characters, and I'm talking about the characters you're doing in the commercials, are they really bigger than life, or do you think that people look at you in your character roles in those commercials and they really relate to Aunt so-and-so or the repairman? Or,
Yeah, go ahead, May.
All right, I'll answer that in my own way. I think we have to be a little bigger than life, like being in the theater. I mean, when you project, you are not yourself, really, but you're projecting a little out of, you know, the regular way of speaking. So I would say we are a little out when we do a character. I know I am.
Yeah.
Of course, I believe in what I'm doing, too, and I love what I'm doing.
I think Jesse has a comment.
Yeah. That's the trouble today with a lot of movies and television shows, Jack, because they are not bigger than life. When people go to the theater or watch a TV show or a movie, they don't want to see life depicted as it is because it's very dull. So you have to play it actually bigger than life, and that's the only way that they relate to it.
Can I ask all four of you if you have any clue as to what I'm going to do right now?
Go buy a
You're going
Maytag
in for a
washer.
commercial.
You guessed it. We're going to go to a commercial and be right back.
And he's got a beard, too.
They're having more fun, kind of all talking across the United States to each other. And we have now another guest who is joining us. He's one of the best-known producers of television commercials. He's also out in Burbank, California. Please welcome Stan Freberg.
Hey, Stan.
Hello, Stan.
Hey there.
Stan, I grew up through high school and college just an absolute worshiper of your comedy. Dawes Butler, Mel Brooks, Stan Freberg. What was the Dragonette album?
St. George and the Dragonette, yeah.
St. George and the Dragonette and the 2 Million Year Old Man and all those things. Why did you make the switch into commercials, Stan?
I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. No, seriously, I felt, and I still feel, that if advertising is something that we have to live with, which I'm not entirely sure of, why not at least try to make some portions of it bearable, you know? Along Madison Avenue, for example, the rumor persists that I am hostile toward advertising, and I'd like to straighten that out right now. I am.
Love it.
But,
Stan, when you do comic commercials, I imagine that there's a certain resistance, especially with your kind of comedy, that the comedy, sure, it's going to be memorable, and people are going to laugh at it, but is it convincing in its selling of a product?
well, that question is always asked, but of course, you couldn't keep doing that if you didn't sell the product. People have asked me if I had much freedom of expression in the advertising world, and the answer is I probably had more freedom doing commercials than I ever had at Capitol Records or at CBS Radio or any other places. I remember a highly nervous place called The Chevy Show on this very same network. Boy, they were nervous there. Anyhow, they wouldn't let me mention hydrogen bomb in a joke, for example. They thought maybe by not mentioning it might go away. But an amazing thing happens in the world of advertising. If you kid around with a prune, for example, and say today the pitch, tomorrow the wrinkles, and all of a sudden the prune sales go up 400%. That's a literal figure, 400%. The Sunsweet company's prune sales went up. An amazing thing happens. The client will let you do almost anything you want to do.
As he should. My goodness, you get that kind of sales. You know what we'd like to do, Stan? We have a montage that we're going to roll right now. Kind of a special of Stan Freberg commercials so that the audience can really get a feeling for what we're talking about. Watch this with us.
I'd like to talk to you about that music you're using.
That's funny. I've been meaning to speak to you people about the same thing.
Have a pizza roll, Kimasami.
Trying to cut down on smoking? Switch to SK Quality Franks. All meat, no filler. Hickory smoked. Delicious barbecued. I'm down to a pack a day.
Today the pitch, tomorrow the wrinkles. Sunsweet marches on.
It's the great, great, great American
Emily, why do you always have to make such a big production out of everything?
Those are super. And just a small sample of what Stan has done. In fact, I saw the familiar face over there of Jess. You talked Jess into doing commercials.
Yeah, that's right.
Jack,
I was the first one that ever used him in commercials.
Stan started me in commercials on the Chung King commercials, and I used to turn him down. We would talk, and I'd say, I'm an actor. I feel it's beneath my dignity. Then I saw Jimmy Stewart and his wife do a gas company commercial. Now, he can not only buy me, and he doesn't have to sell me, he can buy and keep me. And he said, well, he's like, gave me a $20,000 kitchen.
Stan,
Yes?
to give our audience an insight on other dimensions of commercials, like that last one with Ann, was that Ann Miller? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the great one. Yeah.
That's an expensive-looking commercial. How expensive now will a minute commercial go for a network-type product?
Well, you mean the production of it. You're not talking about the
production,
the money that's spent in airtime, right?
That's right.
Well, now I have a feeling that commercials have gone a lot higher, skyrocketed higher than I spent at that time. But at that point, that was about the most expensive commercial that had ever been shot. It was about $154,000 for a minute. But that's because I had a full crew of people on for about a week in Hollywood, and I had Freddie Konekamp, who won the Academy Award for cinematographer of The Towering Inferno. He came from Patton to this as his first commercial, the cameraman. And I had Hermes Pan, who choreographed all of Fred Astaire's pictures.
And it took 1 week to do it took 1 week to do a 1-minute commercial?
Well, we only shot actually for 2 days, but we rehearsed for
even 2 days.
3 days.
Well, there was a whole chorus there.
Yeah.
Chorus and Miller dancing.
Well, how long
the
does
way
it take
she
to do
did
your commercials?
A full day.
To do a 1 minute?
Oh, no, we
1
do
minute.
30 seconds.
Yeah, we
Today
can
is
do
30
two 30 seconds in a day, but one 60-second in a day.
And what's the life of a commercial like that? How long could something like that play on the air and
A
be
year
effective?
and a half.
Is that your experience, Stan?
It could be as long as they want to use it. They can bring it back from time to time.
Yes.
You know, they're right. And if they take a day to shoot a man squeezing toilet paper, for example, in the market,
Who's that?
no, I'm not in any way
What's his name?
demeaning that. But he didn't have 21 dancers back there and the dancing waters and all those people.
Exactly.
And,
And
so
Dave
I don't
Willock.
think 2 days to shoot that is all that ridiculous.
Jack?
And you had Dave Willock there.
Dave
who was the
Willock,
husband.
that's right.
Now,
Yeah,
are we...
Jack, right there.
Yes.
You know, when you think that's a long time to shoot a commercial. The same thing in a film would take 2 to 3 weeks to shoot.
Exactly.
Now, are we talking, so again, our audience has a feeling
all
for it.
right.
Are we doing it piece by piece by piece, or are we just doing it over and over and over because of mistakes?
Piece by piece by piece.
Well, and there's
Right?
another thing too,
Right.
that the actor in a commercial must remember one thing: that he is supernumerary to the product. The product is important. Like, for instance, you say so-and-so, whatever you say, and you hold it up like this, and they say cut. Director said, you know, there was a wrinkle on the product.
That's it.
They don't care about your wrinkle,
No,
it's the wrinkle
so
on
you
the
have
product.
to do it again, and then finally by the end of the day, you say, all the wrinkles are on me now, you know. But it's the product that's important, and the lighting.
Okay, so if we have commercials that can cost upward $100,000, $150,000 every time they're aired, let's talk about nighttime television. What is prime time on a popular show? What does that cost, Stan?
Oh, well, gee, Minnie. I mean, I thought it was outrageous then that they were spending $60,000, $70,000 a shot on the movies. You know, the Sunday nights of movies, Tuesday nights of movies, or whatever. But now, what is
A
it?
shot on a Carson show in the first hour runs somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000 for a 30-second spot.
Or 30
But they can spend $200,000 for a 1-minute shot now.
Only
I
the
think-
biggies.
So
Oh,
a big football game or a big
That's
special.
it. That's it.
But it must sell a lot of product, or they wouldn't be getting those kind of prices.
Downright.
What is the hardest thing, Stan, about producing commercials? And all of you can really relate to this because you've done movies, you've done television series and all. What is, from a performer and a producer's point of view, the most difficult part of doing commercials?
Well, the actors may have a different answer than the guy that's directing and producing it.
That's right. We can.
For me, for my approach to advertising, the toughest thing for me to do is to make it appear as effortless as possible, and for me, as little like advertising as possible. I'm really in there to produce almost non-advertising because we are up to our earlobes in advertising. I once suggested a thing to New York Magazine called the Freberg Part-Time Television Plan for the de-escalation of advertising and frequently the programming which interrupted from time to time. What I said was that Monday night we could have television as usual. Then Tuesday night, how about the set goes black and one word appears, talk, it says.
Yeah.
Right. Wednesday night television as usual. Thursday night, one word appears, read, it says. Friday, television as usual. Saturday is unsupervised activity. And what happens Sunday is, all the commercials that got bumped off during the week are now played wall to wall. 24 glorious hours of advertising.
that's beautiful.
The Freberg part-time television.
I think our audience loves that idea. I'll tell you what, we're going to just play a couple of commercials for them now, so if you all stand by, we'll be right back. Jack Linkletter, and welcome to America Live. Today we're talking about the whole world of television commercials, and you've been joining a group of stars of television commercials and producer Stan Freberg, and I'm going to go around and ask them each one a question by way of introduction here. Let me start with Stan Freberg. Stan?
Sir?
What would you say is the funniest commercial that you can remember? I hope it's one of yours.
No, it's not, actually. From time to time, there are moments of really greatness, artistic achievement in advertising, and I think that my favorite moment in advertising is that man in the little yachting suit that floats around in the toilet bowl there. And I think that, I think if the world were to end tomorrow and all that was left of our civilization would be that film of that little man, I think that's what I'd want people to find. That's what we stood for. I think the only way you could improve that commercial would have been perhaps a hand to come in, preferably mine, and flush that commercial. There's probably enough. There's already enough violence in television.
let me slide next door to you, to Jane Withers. And Jane, you've done it all, television and motion pictures and commercials. Is there a different impact of television commercials on your career than all the others that you would?
Well, I haven't really done some of the commercials I'd like to do yet, because really, having grown up in this industry, which I love with all my heart and soul, I'm 52 now, and I started in it when I was 2. And actually, I started on radio, and then I did the voices for Looney Tune cartoons, and I have to tell Mae this, because I wanted to tell you this for years, dear lady. You were such an inspiration to me as Betty Boop, you will never know, because when I was 5.5 years old and desperately needed a job in Hollywood with my dear mother out there, the only job I could get was doing voiceovers for all these different voices for Looney Tunes. And I used to go and listen to you and watch Betty Boop, and I love you very much for what you did for me. And I just had to share that.
Thank you, Jay.
But I want to say, too, the commercials that I did were rather strange at the time we were doing them in many ways, because the way that the concept of Josephine was originally written and what we ended up doing as a team, because believe me, the one thing I think we all feel sitting here is the incredible teamwork it takes with every single person involved, from the great writers, all of the admin and the agencies that get together and argue and compare notes and finally come to some decision as to what's really going to be done.
Please don't remind me of that part.
I'm sorry.
Well, Jane, in fact, I will use that as kind of a bridge, because I want to just recognize the other people with us. Jesse White, Dick Wilson, Mae Questel, who are all here. Questel?
Questel.
Questel.
Like the Quetzal
Oh,
bird.
gee, I'm
South
gonna have to.
America.
Thank you. But I want to introduce now a lady who has joined us. She's vice president in charge of casting for a large advertising agency. In fact, she has been casting for commercials for some 18 years. Please welcome Raleigh Bester, ladies and gentlemen.
And you.
We are surrounded by successful casting, ideal casting, I guess. But what is, in your opinion, the key? What is your job? Tell us how you really perform.
Well, I am only the first plateau. Now, I bring the people in who you see on commercials to be judged by the people who judge. The writer, the art director, the people who conceived it, the client has to be satisfied with the people as they visualize it.
But I mean, is that an imaginative process? Do you get a product and storyboards, and then you look for a face like Dick?
Jack, I get a storyboard, and the storyboard requires a certain cast of characters. Now, these people are established, of course. That's gravy. You know that the stars will show up in the studio. But those ladies that are in those commercials and the people you stop in the supermarket, the subsidiary characters, who have to be surprised, react, won over by the pitch, the sell. They have to be auditioned.
Now, would you use people out of the street, people out of our audience?
N-O.
No.
Good girl.
No, wait, what's all the applause
There
for?
are
We have a good
thousands of unemployed actors on both coasts who are qualified. The only time that the man in the street is used is when we go out and seek a testimonial, a user of the product, when depending on the product.
And you want an honest testimonial.
And you want a testimonial. I use such and such a soap for my complexion, or I use this denture cleanser, but that's the only time we use people.
You said that these four are so well established. Are they too well established? I mean, is a Mr. Whipple so, etched into our minds that it would be impossible for him to be effective for you as a casting person in another role?
Yes.
You both said yes. Well, how does that make you feel?
Not good. I'm an actor. I've been an actor this is my 49th year as an actor. And I, at this point in my life, I walk into a place and they say, "Aren't you Mr. Whipple?" And I say, "Yes." And they say,
and that's it.
And that's it. I know what it is. They don't have to say anything.
So this is a business, when you're successful, you actually work your way out of a job.
Yes.
Well, you cry all the way to the bank.
Yeah, yes. Or you're recognized at the bank.
How much money can you make if you really hit it big on a commercial?
You
Lots.
say that. You say
Come on, someone give us a feeling.
You can do well over $100,000.
$100,000
Yeah.
in what period of time?
In 1 year.
But what percentage of people make that?
What?
1/2 of 1%?
Oh, sure. Yes.
And you're saying that all those other people don't make a living at it?
Oh, no, I don't know. I really don't know what the figures are, but I would say 70 or 80% make $3,000 a year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very dear brotherhood.
Let us start here with our audience. What is your name?
Mrs. Bernstein.
Bernstein.
Yes, Bernstein, Ingrid Bernstein.
What question would you like to ask?
I would like to ask Aunt Bluebell if she really goes into supermarkets to test, the customers.
See, it doesn't refer to her as Mae, it's Aunt Bluebell.
Yes, it's easier name for me to say.
Naturally, we've shown it to you so many times.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if it's, made in a studio or if you really go out into the supermarket.
Oh, we do.
You do?
We go into real supermarkets all over New York, Long Island,
So how come
Jersey.
you don't come to Queens?
Just invite me. I'll be very happy to go.
Come to Waldbaum's and Regal Park.
I love Waldbaum's. We haven't got one in New York.
Okay, what is your name?
Hi, I'm Sherry Dixon Spahn.
And Sherry, who would you like
And
to ask?
Mr. Whipple, I'm sorry to use the name. But I remember you from Bewitched.
Yes.
You starred in that. Would you like to go back into doing a television series again?
Sometimes I think I would. I was very happy on Bewitched. Elizabeth is a dear to work with, and her husband at that time was the producer-director. And it was funny because I would go in, like say, Bill would call me and he'd say, "Dick, we want your drunkie for next week," and I'd say, "Fine," and I'd go in, say, 9 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning.
Drunk?
Yeah, drunk. I used to rehearse at night.
Oh, I thought you would say you arrived drunk.
No. But I would go in the morning, and I would be out at, say, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was great.
Good. All right, who else had a question here? Would you please stand up? And I'll just put my long arm in there. What is your name?
Jerry Carlin.
And who would you like to ask a question of, Jerry?
I would like to ask all of them a question.
Okay.
Collectively, between our distinguished guests, how many years of show business experience do we have here?
Oh, wow.
Oh, I have 49, and Mae has at least 3.
63 and a half. I beat you.
63 and a half.
No.
Are you
Not
doing,
that many.
Jane, are you adding in your head?
50 for me.
Wow, Jesse?
Remember.
I'm about 40, 45.
And Stan?
35.
And Raleigh's been in the business
18 years as a casting director and as an actress.
How many? I didn't hear that. So your answer is a lot. Other questions? Yes. Would you please stand? What is your name?
Brian.
Brian? Who would you like to ask a question of?
Mr. Whipple. I was wondering what his first role was.
You mean going back 40 years?
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Yes. I played a clarinet in a trio, and we were a very poor trio. I had one reed in the mouthpiece, and on my way out I broke it on my coat, and I did comedy throughout the whole thing. Not one note, nothing. I did everything funny.
That's how the whole thing
That's the first
started,
one.
right?
The most memorable. Yes. Would you please stand? What is your name?
Charles Gessner. I'd like to ask all of them, how do they know the impact of the commercials on the consumer buying other than through cancellation? Are they notified in any way?
Good question. Good question.
I can tell you that easily. If it's working, they pick you up with a Cary Cadillac.
But there's got to be a serious side to that, because you do your commercial, the same product is being advertised in magazines, on radio, in newspaper print, point of sale on the package. How do they know what's doing the job?
Test the recall.
Right. Sales. It's sales. It's the recall.
Sales.
And of course, well, the sales, everybody.
Yeah, but the sales could be everything, couldn't it be, Stan?
Yeah.
But for TV.
Yeah.
Meaning for
it takes about 3 months. They put them in a test market, Jack. And then it takes about 3 or 4 months, and they know what the impact is immediately.
May I share a thought here?
Yes.
Because it's really important for me. Having grown up in show business, when I started doing my commercials, I asked them in the beginning if they would help me with my fan mail. They said, oh, this is a commercial. You don't get that much mail. I said, I guarantee you, you're going to be hearing from folks. Well, they got so many letters in the first 2 weeks, telegrams, phone calls. They could not believe what happened.
A lot of people have
I know personally, I had 4 people helping me answer mail just from Josephine alone.
Okay, good. Was there another question out here? Yes, would you stand? What is your name?
Donna.
Donna, what's your question?
In Bluebell, did you ever do any other commercials for any other products besides Scott Towels?
Oh, lots of them.
What did you?
I think I started making commercials when we would dub the voices in, like Duz, Fab, Ivory Snow. We would watch the lip movements, and I would be off camera all the time. Then, after a while, they started to use little ladies like myself, you know, nice, simple, plain, and put us in the kitchen or other places.
You were never simple or plain.
Oh, I was.
She was always little, though.
Anyhow, I started with the dub voices, and they were animated commercials. Today, they use all sorts of people, not only these gorgeous models, but people like Dick and myself and Jesse, and anyhow.
What did she mean by that?
I don't know, but you know what I want to do?
Real people like.
I want to thank all you real people. You've made a great contribution to our appreciation and understanding of commercials. From California to New York, thank you very, very much. We're going to pause for a commercial and be right back.